All right, let's break this down because the legal jargon can get confusing real fast. When Sean Diddy Combs went to trial, he wasn't just up against a couple of charges. Oh no, he was staring down 5 serious counts by the time the trial started. And these weren't your everyday charges. Initially, the feds indicted him on 3 counts. Then, just before the trial kicked off, they upped it to 5. Why? Because they wanted to hit him hard with racketeering conspiracy, plus 2 counts of trafficking. And get this, the trafficking counts each related to different women, including Cassie Ventura and another unidentified victim. Now here's the kicker. The racketeering conspiracy charge is normally something you hear about in mafia movies. You know, mob bosses running crime families with their crew involved in drug dealing, extortion, gambling, all that. But here, the prosecutors argued Diddy was running a kind of criminal enterprise, not with drugs or guns, but with a network of people allegedly exploiting women to benefit himself. Sounds wild, right? But that's the theory. They claim Diddy used his assistants, bodyguards, and staff to help abuse, manipulate, and control women, all to keep his empire running smoothly. The money flows, the business grows, everyone benefits, except the women caught in the mess. But proving racketeering conspiracy is no easy task. The prosecution had to prove 2 main things, Ron Portas, that there was a criminal enterprise, like an organized group acting together, Ron Portas, that Diddy and at least one other person agreed to carry out this pattern of crimes over time. And this is where things got sticky. The jury seemed to struggle accepting Diddy as the boss of this enterprise. They just weren't convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that he was calling the shots like a mob kingpin. To add fuel to the fire, there were rumors the prosecution dropped some charges, kidnapping and arson, and people thought this meant their case was falling apart. But nope, that was bad reporting. The prosecutors only dropped some of the theories about those crimes, not the charges themselves. So the jury still had to consider if Diddy was involved in these underlying crimes, but the prosecution had to simplify their case and focus on what they could prove more clearly. In a nutshell, the legal battlefield was complicated, with layers of charges and shifting strategies. And while the trafficking charges seemed like a slam dunk, the big scary racketeering charge was the real beast to tackle. Alright, now let's talk about the trafficking charges. These were the ones everyone expected Diddy to get nailed on. And honestly, the evidence seemed pretty clear. The prosecutors only had to prove one key thing. Did he transport people for the purpose of prostitution? That's it. No need to dig deeper. They had travel receipts, text messages from Diddy himself, witness testimony, even voice notes, all showing he was involved in moving men around, coordinating payments, and basically running the whole operation behind the scenes. One of the male escorts testified and described Diddy's role in the day-to-day logistics. And then there were those voice notes. You know, the ones where Diddy basically tells his people how to get paid. That kind of direct involvement? It's hard to argue with that in court. So yeah, for many, it was no surprise that the jury likely made their minds up on trafficking early on. It was the trafficking charge that really had the most solid concrete proof. But remember, this case wasn't just about trafficking. It was also about the bigger picture of abuse, control, and racketeering, which proved to be a much tougher hill to climb for the prosecution. Now let's get into the racketeering conspiracy charge. This one's complicated and usually reserved for mob bosses and organized crime rings. Racketeering, or RICO, is about proving someone ran a criminal enterprise, like the mafia, where multiple crimes benefit the whole organization. In this case, prosecutors argued Diddy ran a criminal enterprise involving his staff abusing and exploiting women for his gain. To convict on racketeering conspiracy, the jury had to agree on 2 main points. Ronark. There was a criminal enterprise, meaning Diddy and others agreed to commit crimes together. Ronark, at least 2 underlying crimes happened as part of this conspiracy, like trafficking, kidnapping, or arson. Here's the catch. While the prosecution showed evidence of some crimes, convincing the jury Diddy was the leader of this enterprise was much harder. The jury struggled to agree that he orchestrated this entire operation. Also, the jury had to decide on the underlying crimes themselves, which is complex because there were different theories about who did what, whether it was attempted crimes, aiding and abetting, or actual commission. In the end, the prosecution removed some lesser theories, like attempted kidnapping and arson, to simplify their case. But they didn't drop the charges entirely. It was more about focusing on the strongest angles. Still, convincing the jury beyond a reasonable doubt that Diddy led this criminal enterprise proved to be the biggest challenge. While the racketeering conspiracy charge was complex, the trafficking charges were much more straightforward for the prosecution. There were 2 trafficking counts that Diddy was convicted of, one related to Cassie Ventura, and another related to an unidentified victim known as Jane Doe. The prosecution only had to prove that Diddy knowingly transported these women for the purpose of prostitution, which included the commercial element, meaning sex acts were exchanged for money. The evidence was pretty clear. Travel receipts, messages from Diddy himself, testimonies from his assistants, and even voice notes where he gave instructions on payment and logistics. This made it a slam dunk for the jury on those counts. One of the key moments was the opening argument, where the prosecution played a video showing Diddy physically abusing Cassie, which connected to the trafficking charge because it happened during a freak-off, an event involving male escorts. This video was powerful evidence tying trafficking to the abuse. Another example was a plane trip, where Diddy allegedly showed Cassie a video of her and threatened to release it if she didn't comply with demands, adding a layer of coercion and control, crucial in trafficking cases. Because the prosecution only needed to prove one episode of trafficking, these incidents strongly supported the guilty verdict on those counts. Unlike the trafficking counts, the racketeering conspiracy charge was much more complicated for the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. To convict Diddy on this charge, the jury had to agree on two key points: that a criminal enterprise existed, with Diddy as the leader orchestrating the activities; that there was a conspiracy, meaning he and at least one other person agreed to commit a pattern of illegal acts together. This charge is traditionally used in mob cases involving organized crime families. Here, the prosecution alleged that Diddy operated a criminal enterprise that exploited women for his benefit, involving his assistants and staff in this pattern. However, the jury struggled to fully accept that Diddy was the mastermind of such a criminal enterprise, while the evidence showed he was involved in trafficking. Proving the larger conspiracy and enterprise beyond reasonable doubt was more challenging. Additionally, the prosecution had to show at least two underlying predicate crimes, like kidnapping, arson, trafficking, obstruction, etc., linked to this conspiracy. Some underlying charges like kidnapping and arson were reported to be dropped, but in reality, only certain theories around those charges were removed, not the charges themselves. This caused confusion. In the end, the jury acquitted Diddy of the racketeering conspiracy charge, finding the evidence insufficient to convict on this more complex allegation. Despite the acquittal on the racketeering conspiracy, Diddy was convicted on two counts related to transporting individuals for prostitution, often called Mann Act violations. These charges were considered the easiest for the prosecution to prove. They only had to show that Diddy transported men for commercial acts. The evidence was clear and direct. Travel receipts showed trips where men were transported. Messages from Diddy himself directed payments and logistics. Testimonies from his assistants and even voice notes from Diddy confirmed his involvement. One pivotal piece of evidence was a video showing Diddy physically assaulting Cassie Ventura, which prosecutors used to establish control and coercion. The video, played during opening arguments, set a strong tone for the trafficking charges. Another incident involved Diddy allegedly showing Cassie a video on a plane and threatening to release it if she didn't comply with demands for commercial acts, adding coercion and travel components to the trafficking allegations. Additionally, testimony from male performers like Daniel Phillip described witnessing physical abuse during these incidents. All these pieces combined made the trafficking charges straightforward for the jury to convict on, while the more complicated racketeering charge didn't stick. Racketeering conspiracy charges are notoriously complex and difficult to prove. The prosecution had to convince the jury that Diddy led a criminal enterprise, orchestrating a pattern of illegal activity involving abuse and exploitation of women by himself and his associates. However, the jury struggled with the first key element, establishing that Diddy was the leader of such an enterprise. Without that, the racketeering charge couldn't hold, no matter the evidence of individual crimes. The prosecution also had to prove at least two underlying crimes as part of the racketeering count. Though multiple underlying crimes like kidnapping, arson, trafficking, and obstruction were charged, some theories and counts were clarified or removed as the trial progressed, leading to confusion in public reporting. Ultimately, the jury found enough evidence for trafficking convictions but did not find beyond a reasonable doubt that the broader racketeering conspiracy charge was proven. This split outcome illustrates how complex and nuanced racketeering law is, especially when applied outside traditional organized crime contexts.
But in order for him to not, he either gonna have to accept the challenge or up. Those are the only two options.
I'm gonna do my job as a communicator.
Yeah.
I'm gonna communicate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna communicate.
Yeah.
In a Kevin Hart-esque way.
Yeah.
What was said.
Yeah.
And what we feel should happen.
Let him know the king on his trail, but I don't want nothing but action. I don't want nothing but action and opportunity.
Say no more. Say no more. I would do my job.
And I would love to get on live with you and go and do it in front of millions.
Say no more. I will do my job.
Okay, well you just let me know, guys. Cause I'm looking for a jet. He got a party tonight. I'm looking for a jet. I'm going up there and I'm gonna commandeer his celebration.
Jesus Christ. That man said commandeer. When you start using words like that, that's when you're serious.
I'm a commandeer his celebration. Let him know. Happy birthday and all that old. But what the is you gonna do, sir?
Yeah, you want the smoke. You want all the smoke.
I got to.
Say no more.
These under their breath about us all these years?
What is it good news? I ain't said nothing.
No, but you from Philly. You from Philly. Y'all have y'all own battles with New York. You from Philly. That ain't now. That ain't for us. That ain't for us. That ain't for us. You know? No. That ain't for us. Yeah, that ain't for us. You dig what I'm saying? Y'all gotta make it to the mailbox and back alive. You know what I'm saying? That ain't for us. You know what I mean? But Atlanta versus New York. I'm the king down here. I'm speaking for the people down here. Don't go around me. Don't talk to nobody but me. Don't nobody go no smoke but me. You speaking for New York? Bring it on. Let's see who really got the action going. Let's see who really is the down here.
Give me an hour. I'm about to get on the horn.
Okay.
Take a shot.
Yes.
Take a shot.
I need to take me one too, guy.
Yeah, take a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey.
Huh? Huh?
I love you.
Yeah, well, I love you too, man. But it ain't about all that right now.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Okay, stay.
Hey, not right now. Cause I need action. Action. I'm doing this for my
You got a beef or something, man? Because I seen a post today where they were saying that you were supposed to be in I guess one of the power what's the name? I guess two of the actors on the show said that you were actually supposed to be on the show, and then they replaced you with Method Man, and they weren't expecting it or something.
No, that's not true. 50 and I we were executive producers on a different show outside of the Power universe. But nah, man, me and 50 cool. I'm the only one who's not offended by his brass approach, and he's not offended by mine. So, you know, we play rough, but we ain't no issue.
Hey, what's happening, homie? This TAP, man, you know what I'm saying? You watching Hard Knock TV, you understand? My homegirl Ace Bombay giving it to your West Coast style. Cali loving it, you did that, and you heard it from the king, King, period. Except no substitutions, you dig?
Now, we usually expect you, if anyone's coming at you, that you're going to come back. But I see that you, and what I've been reading is that you've changed your mentality. But how are you dealing with when, like, the 50 cents are coming at you?
Well, I mean, honestly, man, like, to be perfectly honest with you, man, I gotta deal with each situation as how I hear it come out of the person's mouth. You can misinterpret songs, lyrics, you know what I'm saying? When you're being interviewed and someone asks you, how do you feel about this? I gotta take that. I gotta take your verbal rather than listen to your lyrics and jump to a conclusion. And when I heard him speaking on it, he said he wasn't talking about me, you know what I'm saying? And me and 50 always had a decent rapport, you know? It wasn't never nothing negative. So, and like he said this in conversation. At the same time, he said, man, he's never had a problem with saying people's names when he's speaking on them. And like that's not like 50. If he going at somebody, he usually say their name and make it known. It's usually not ever whether or not. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that it's just unnecessary to jump to a conclusion and, you know, create an issue where there is none.
Now with Shorty Low, I see you've kind of let that just go to the side. Is this something that you just are kind of like, I'm over dealing with beefs?
I mean, it's lame, for real, dog. Like, this is not what we started rapping for. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, man, everybody has a position to play in life. My position is to win. Be the best at what I do and look good doing it. You know what I'm saying? Other people's in position where their position is to hate. You know what I'm saying? They hate because they can't do what I do. They hate because they can't look as good doing what I do as I do. They hate because they ain't got as much money as me. They ain't as successful as me. So because of that hate from within, they spew negativity without, you know, on the outside. Like, and I acknowledge that, I accept that, and after that, man, you know, ain't nothing to do but address it, dismiss it, and destroyed. Period. That's all you gotta do, man. Success, man, kills all that, dog. Success kills all that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you can say what you want to say, homeboy, but I'm still where I'm at, you still where you at, partner, and ain't nothing gonna change about that, homeboy, and I know you hate that. But I'm laughing like high.
What do you think? What exactly is happening between these two? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. Until then, fam, keep it real.